Archimex login confirmed.
Welcome to the Lodge. You've accessed
the Lodgecast experience.
Warning, warning. Dangerous spoilers ahead. Enjoy.
Episode 37.
What men want.
Welcome to another edition of the Lodgecast. I'm your Lodge Master, and with me as always is... Wait, I don't have any co-hosts today. What the hell's going on? Brother Bishki is living it up Hawaiian style. Brother Lucas... That was great. Brother Lucas is a conscientious objector on this one.
Oh.
And
rude.
We have a car. Well, it's mainly because this was to be a ladies-only event, because the movie today is What Men Want. So our guests tonight are Sister Emily.
Hi.
Sister Brandy.
Yo.
And randomly, Brother Justin.
Hi. I upped his estrogen dose today.
So this fast-paced Hollywood lifestyle makes it very hard to plan events such as this, and to get a bunch of these highly successful women who are just running this town together to see this movie on one night is tough. So this is our ragtag group. We are in Montebello, California. Montemello is more like it. We just hit the Applebee's, and my God, we are full of apps and ready for comedy.
The cheese is strong.
The cheese is so strong.
I already know the answer to what men want, and it's to go to Applebee's in Montebello and then see this movie with you guys.
It truly is. That's truly
self-fulfilling
the
prophecy.
Answer. Spoiler alert. So, okay, let's not beat around the bush here. What are you guys expecting from this movie? What are you gals expecting from this movie?
Enjoyment. Just flat out enjoyment. Fun.
Do you have affinity?
Hijinks.
Do you have affinity for the loosely connected What Women Want, starring Mel Gibson from 2000?
I do.
I do too.
Now,
I liked it.
Yeah.
Now, Emily, we just watched this again. We just revisited this like 3 days ago.
Right.
And I have to say, I had never seen it before. And seeing a sexual politics comedy from the year 2000 in 2019 is quite the experience.
Yeah.
There
holds up in some parts.
some gleaming parts still, quote unquote, hold up. Brother Justin, have you seen that film?
I have not.
Okay.
Ooh, we get to watch it in reverse order then.
The only thing I remember is a moment in the trailer where Mel Gibson kind of like thrusts his crotch a little bit, and Helen Hunt is delighted, but a little scared.
Yep.
Right.
That's all I got.
I would say that's accurate. Mm-hmm. Now, tonight's film has Taraji P. Henson, which Lodgecast aficionados may remember from a little film called Tyler Perry's Acrimony, which made my top 10 of the year list.
Oh, nice.
I think she always commits. I mean, I haven't seen her entire body of work. Emily, you're an Empire viewer, correct?
The first 2 seasons, so I'm quite familiar with Cookie Lions.
Okay, so she's at the very least, if this movie turns out to be completely a flaccid farce, at least I hope she will have the fire in her eyes of conviction to sell some of these gags.
She has such an it factor.
Yeah.
She sells the whole Empire show just on her character. I'm sure that even if this is a dud, there's going to be something that sparks.
Well, I'm excited then. I'm excited for the company. I'm excited for the beer cheese in our bellies, and I'm excited for Taraji P. Henson in What Men Want. I don't know who's going to stay awake. It's a 2-hour motion picture.
I'm in it to win it.
You're in to win it.
No sleep.
I'm marking that down.
Yep.
The warm light of the Yoshinoya sign filling the car right now is putting me to sleep, but I think I'll be energized by the time we get in the theater.
Emily, you got predictions? Are you going to be up for this?
You know what? I'm up for whatever happens.
Okay, that sounds great.
Including a 30-minute nap.
And on this podcast, we celebrate your choice and your right to do that. So let's head in. The previews are starting. We're going to see the Pet Sematary preview for the 900th time, and we'll report back to you about what men really want.
Sometimes sleep is better.
Love and light, y'all. Well, that was a doozy, y'all. That was a 2-hour comedy extravaganza.
Still laughing.
Yeah.
Before we get into it, Brother Justin, do you want to look towards Hawaii and try to channel Brother Bishki for the schnapps?
I will do my best. Synapse from Rotten Tomatoes. Inspired by the Nancy Meyers hit romantic comedy What Women Want, this film follows the story of a female sports agent, Henson, who has been constantly boxed out by her male colleagues. When she gains... Shit.
Hold it together.
All right,
Dennis
cut.
Franz over here from Rotten Tomatoes.
When she gains the power to hear men's thoughts, she is able to shift the paradigm to her advantage as she races to sign the NBA's next superstar.
Very well. Very well
Nice.
done. Very well
It's
done.
like he was right in the car.
Is Bishki gonna think my impression of him is funny?
So, did everybody stay awake?
Yes.
I was awake. I was
No,
awake.
No.
Okay, so it's basically what Women Want remake. Beats-wise, it covers the same beats overall. So if you've seen the previous film, it's generally the same vibe. Emily, you don't agree?
I don't think it's a perfect reflection of it.
No,
It's-
but it's
it
the
dips
same
in and
beats.
out. Yeah.
So, like, the Bette Midler character is Erykah Badu in this.
Correct. I would agree with that.
That's the main anchor point and the main math that you need to do to understand what's changed. The movie began with Tyler Perry in his Medea getup begging you to please sign up for the AMC A-list. And I think that's one of the best things I've seen on the big screen in this young year so far.
Hallelujah, I'm gonna get that A-list.
He was doing the hard sell.
Ad-libbing.
Shameless.
Ooh.
Loved it.
Yeah.
And Mr. Perry, we will be there front and center for your Medea's family funeral. Trust. You guys are off the hook for that, if you want to be. But, so, the movie. What's our first impression, guys?
Well, I can say, hold on, ladies, let me manage.
Oh, yeah.
let
Gentlemen first.
Let Justin handle this.
Yeah. Well, first of all, what men want is to be firmly in charge of every discussion. So just please let me finish.
Yes.
Jeez, are they really offended by me going first? I truly respect both of these women, and I desperately hope they realize Matt and I are simply doing a comedy bit here. Oh, no, now they're looking at me weird. Here goes nothing. Men want a shorter movie? Because damn.
That's for damn sure.
That was ending like Lord of the Rings, Return of the King.
God.
We had to
think it was that
we had to
bad.
wrap up every story.
What was bad
Real
was
nice.
Matt's groan every 2 minutes.
It
Hey.
was so long, guys.
This movie had a lot of work to do after she got her powers taken away.
Well, let's
not spoiler
let's take them
alert,
through it
but-
because no one. I don't think anybody's gonna see this.
Yeah,
I don't
okay.
think anybody's rushing
Can we speak
out.
freely?
Permission to speak very freely.
Yes. Okay.
The thing that this shares most with What Women Want is it takes too damn long to get her powers. I
Yeah,
clocked it at
agreed.
40 minutes.
Agreed. Yeah. It's
40
Yeah.
It's a
fucking
slog.
minutes.
See, I didn't know what the method was going to be for her to get magical powers. So I kept waiting for her to hit her head, and there were so many beats.
Yes.
'Cause she was like boxing. I'm like, damn,
Yep.
is she going to slip and hit her head? Is she going to get knocked out? Nope. And then she had this wild one-night stand with this guy where she was riding him like a mechanical bull. I'm like, is this going to be a
Headboard.
sex blooper?
Headboard action.
Is she going to
Headboard
fall
bump?
off him, hit her head? No. And then she gets...
That would have been better.
She goes to the psychic, which we can elaborate on in a second here. But then also, in addition to that, hits her head anyway.
Yeah.
So, like, all this time I was waiting for her to hit her head.
You like that she took the mystical potion and hit her head.
Yeah, just to really hammer it home.
Because if you harken back, we won't harken back to Mel Gibson's masterpiece too much more, but his bookends for his powers were slipping on bath beads and electrocuting himself in the tub. While wearing fishnets.
Right.
That was hot.
And then a tacked on strange method of losing it in which he confronts a wise old Asian woman in Chinatown and she points him down a rainy alley. And then lightning hits a telephone pole and sparks fall on his head in strange slow motion. And then he doesn't have it anymore. So this one's got peyote, crack, PCP, ecstasy tea, and head bonk, and then another head bonk.
And lots of penis props.
Yeah. I think Taraji P. Henson is a national treasure. I think she did come to play as I was hoping that she would. She's one of my favorite working actresses today. She just needs good material.
Yeah, she's the best part of the movie. Like,
Yeah,
watching
easily.
her scenes are all great. And then they cut away to other people, and you're just like, okay.
Because
here we
she's
go.
she's the life support that's
Yeah.
keeping the creakier elements of this movie alive. Like, we've seen this movie 8,000
God,
times.
Yeah.
We know exactly what's going to happen.
The
And
staunchy boardroom, the woman trying to get up. And
so it's all in the details.
Yeah.
And I think this movie, once she does get her powers, there are some pretty... This movie's the best when it's doing its kind of strange asides. Like when she's just walking through a room full of men and you hear just a bunch of weird shit that the men are saying. Just total non sequitur asides.
I would have loved to have been in the writer's room when they hired like 5 stand-up comedians to just write a ton of one-liners.
How fun would that have been paid to do that?
Oh my god. Should we all say our favorite? I have mine chambered.
Go ahead. I don't remember any of them.
When she's walking through a courtyard, one guy just goes, Michael Keaton was the best Batman.
Yeah, yep. That was my favorite. That was my favorite too. That was good.
The only one I remember is, damn, how can she be pregnant? I pulled out twice. It's like, that's the one that stuck with me.
Like that stuff was great. But it's when the movie gets shackled to the conventions of this type of movie that's when I start groaning into your ear, Emily, where I'm just like, ugh, 20 more minutes? What? That's why I truly feel this movie should be like 89 minutes instead of 100 and fucking 20 minutes.
A tight 89 minutes. You could get a tight 89 minutes out of this.
You could trim
so much fat.
Trim so much. I don't know. But anyway, like what else do we like about it? Emily, what did you enjoy about this film?
I enjoyed most of it.
Yeah?
To be honest with you.
You didn't worry about the length.
No, it didn't impact me at all. It went by very quickly, and there were so many scenes that we laughed out loud.
That's true. That's very true. Sometimes in spite of itself.
Now, the only thing that I could potentially, there were scenes that you could trim or omit because they were almost pointless.
Right. I think the one that you and I both looked at each other was... After she gets her power, she goes back to the psychic and basically spends what feels like 20 minutes.
Yes.
It was probably like 5 minutes just reframing and re-explaining and making it abundantly clear what we all completely know from the trailer.
She could have figured it out on her own.
She had figured it out already.
Good power to have, though.
Yeah.
She needed Erykah Badu to tell her that.
But that's the Bette Midler scene from What Women Want, and Bette Midler never shows up again, so it's pointless in that movie too. So it's like they took everything. They kept the wheat and the chaff.
So the two characters that I couldn't decide if I liked the assistant or not. I thought some of his characters and stereotypes were...
Yeah, she has a gay assistant who is played by the guy who plays Big Head on Silicon Valley. You weren't feeling him?
I liked him.
Yeah.
I thought that he played the role very well, but I just didn't like the way she spoke to him and some of the stereotypes that were...
There was a lot of real
built into that.
easy, like, kind of old-feeling gay stereotypes going on. And it feels even weirder, the fact that I don't think he's a gay actor. So it's kind of like we're at this point where it's like, is it okay for a straight man to play a gay role or whatever? I think it can be, but when you're in a movie that doesn't really know how to handle gay characters and still sees them as kind of a joke, then it gets a
punchline.
It gets a little icky. Yeah.
A little bit.
Well, I think they tried to redeem that a little bit at the end by having him have this encyclopedic knowledge of sports.
Sure.
But it didn't really, it was kind of too late, too little.
It doesn't seem sincere. And then having Pete Davidson be the object of his affection, like
Weird.
It's just all kind of a joke.
Yeah.
You know.
And then she hears Pete Davidson thinking, I wonder how big Shaq's dick is.
Right.
But then Shaq shows up
He's
in
in
the
that
movie,
movie.
which I thought was kind of weird.
Yeah. A sample from what kind of the humor that we're talking about surrounding this gay character. She's like, I can hear men's thoughts and yours. It's like,
Yeah, that was,
it's like you
that was
can't.
a little weird.
Yeah, it's like why have that kind of line in your 2019 movie, you weirdos? But anyway, the movie's kind of gleefully vulgar. It feels like an R-rated sitcom. Like the music, the score is so just like sleepwalking romantic comedy bullshit score.
But the soundtrack is good.
Well, the soundtrack.
I love the soundtrack.
The soundtrack is
every 90s.
the
I was
soundtrack
singing
is
to it.
tailor made
It was
for
so
us.
fun. It was tailor made for girls' night out party.
It is. But like
Yes.
girls of a certain age. Sorry, ladies, but
Hey, it's okay.
It's like 80s and 90s only,
Own it.
and it is only the hits, no deep cuts.
Love it.
No deep cuts.
She has sex to Push It by Salt and Pepper.
Yeah.
I think her first sex scene might be the salad dragon scene where she's just going nuts
that was
on that
weird.
guy. I thought
It's violent.
it was very violent.
Really oddly violent.
It was very just like Taraji P. Henson in super over the top mode. She's just wailing
Like
on this guy.
007 in slapper mode.
What I liked
Yes.
about her
Just-
character, she was
Why?
so confident that of course she would be the person that
It
takes
was
charge.
brutal.
Yeah.
But it was like a little violent.
It was very violent. I loved it. Are there any other nominations for Salad
Well,
Dragonry?
we were both thinking the
S&M.
very handsome guy that she
Out of nowhere.
is attracted to in her apartment or her loft, and then she finally challenges him in the elevator, and
She hears his
As
thoughts.
per his request. His
She hears
mental
his
request.
thoughts, and his thoughts are like, I wish she'd just
Jump me.
jump me and push me against the wall, and she does. And he takes her into his apartment, and it's filled with like African art and artifacts. It's like this setup doesn't go anywhere though. Like, what does she do in the bathroom?
I love what she does in the bathroom. It was hilarious.
she
Pretty realistic.
shaved. She did everything.
She did the washcloth wipe.
Yeah.
It was
Yes.
great.
But then she goes up into the loft where he's waiting for her, and then he's just in like S&M gear and like a sex swing.
Yeah.
And then she's like, "Nope, I'm out of here," which feels like a relic from the 90s.
Yes.
You know?
It was too
It was
much.
not shocking. You
Yeah.
know? And it didn't have a real that was the punchline.
It was a misfire.
was
for
that
real.
he was in S&M gear. It didn't really care to take it any farther. So that had the makings of a salad dragon scene, but it was
short.
woefully aborted. Yeah.
Yeah,
chopped.
when we saw all that African art, I was like, uh-oh.
I know, I thought he was gonna
what
do
kind of
something
shit
funny
is he
with
gonna
that.
Be thinking?
I thought
thought so
something. I thought there's constantly opportunities for this movie to go deeper, but it is steadfastly not interested.
I feel like
in
that scene was like starting to go somewhere, but then the writers were like, no, we should stop this and let's just have him in S&M
Yeah,
swing. and,
or
like,
they
it's
had
funny.
they had a version that was longer, and they're like, this character doesn't really figure into the rest of the movie,
Yeah.
so let's
Just
punt.
stop.
What?
Oh, I think we were going to the same place just now.
We're hearing each other's thoughts, and our thoughts are Tracy fucking Morgan.
Yeah.
He's back. I was a little worried because I thought, nobody really knows where Tracy Morgan's at right now, comedically. He hasn't really been in a lot of films lately, at least that I've seen. But I mean, for what this is, I thought he was great in this.
He's back. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought he
I
did
was
a
so
great job.
happy.
Like, he was hilarious.
Yeah.
He's so funny that sometimes you don't even understand what he's saying.
It
but
doesn't
the,
matter.
The cadence
It's the
and
cadence.
tonality.
I think they
you're
just let him
you start
run.
laughing.
I think they just let him talk too.
Yeah, because he's kind
the
of like
poker
mumbling
scene.
like in the next scene.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
so fun to watch.
Do you guys
him.
know who that character is based on?
Yeah.
Yeah, Lonzo Ball's dad, LeVar Ball.
Right.
Right.
And it's barely an exaggeration.
Right.
That guy's fucking crazy.
He's out of
Like,
control.
he just says whatever the hell he wants. It's great.
Maybe Tracy Morgan doesn't even know who that guy is. Like, who knows? Like, he just shows up and probably is like this, But I thought he was great. Every
So
scene
fun.
he was in, like, you look forward to him coming back because you're just like, yeah. Like, I love cadence comics. Like Norm Macdonald's another one where it's like, it doesn't even really matter what he's saying. Even if he delivers the line, quote unquote, wrong, it's so right. And that's money in the bank if you're trying to make a comedic film.
And he made that
See
character
Tracy.
likable too.
Right.
Because you cringe, like, when you hear about that kind of a story where a dad's just being overpowering.
And then to see that the mom was the one that was really in control makes him even more
God.
likable.
Yep.
Man, Brian Bosworth is so cool. Should I even bother bringing him up?
Even though he was kind of a skis bag, I was happy to see Brian motherfucking Bosworth back on the big
The
screen.
Boz, yeah.
Stone Cold
man.
himself.
He was the big boss man.
Yep.
Yeah, Emily, you might not be familiar with the Boz, but we'll help you out. We'll show you Stone Cold
Yes.
within the year. Erica Badu, thoughts?
Oh, I
Good.
loved her.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was great.
Fun.
I think she can hold her own. Again, it's like, I don't think they gave her anything material wise. I think she just came in and kind of did
Yeah.
her mystical psychic thing, but that was good. Like, I liked her delivery on everything too. It was very kind of dry, but
She was in tune where she knew what the humor was.
Yeah.
And she
Yeah.
fed into it.
she knew exactly what was going on.
Now, the friends, I love Phoebe Robinson. I didn't know the other gal's name. And then the chick from Bridesmaids.
I thought it.
They were. They had
the writing was not very good.
No, for a girls' movie or quote unquote girls
They just
chick
didn't
flick.
act like friends.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
didn't seem like a group.
It was
that-
perfunctory, and that's why pretty much all the scenes with them, you're
Yeah.
like, why?
The
Like,
whole wedding
the
scene,
whole
I was like,
wedding thing,
why?
there are huge
Oh, so much
comedic
production.
set pieces in
Yeah.
this, like expensive set pieces. But without the writing, it doesn't matter. Like, it just becomes a bunch of loud bullshit. And that's, to me, where the movie really started just grinding to a halt. It's on that back 40, just like with What Women Want, where people start to learn lessons and the score turns from jaunty sitcom to special moment, third act, Full House strings.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, there's nothing more boring, sorry Emily, than the back half of a romantic comedy when they stop caring about the comedy.
They peppered it in still enough, I
The
think.
pepper was very light.
I mean, like the ladies in the church, like, and the, what was going on, wig grabs and all that stuff.
But I'm talking about post that. Like, I wasn't a big fan of the church scene, but after that, comedic graveyard, man. She's talking
She's
to her
gotta go eat
dad
shit
and
with everybody.
and the guy that she's involved with. She's got to apologize to him and rekindle with him and figure out her job. And it's just like, even when she's still supposed to hear the male voices during this section, no more hot Batman talk.
Yeah.
There's just nothing. So my bone density it was leaving. It was leaving.
Needed the Boniva.
Yeah, I needed the Boniva injection.
Oh, man.
But there's just so many little things, like the doctor that keeps attending to her that has a coke problem that she hears, and he's got all these dark thoughts. It's all the stuff on the periphery that makes it good, in my humble opinion.
Mm-hmm. When the psychic was dealing all those cards, I think that was my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah.
And there was an Uno card in there.
Yeah,
That was
Skip.
fucking hilarious.
Got the Uno skip card mixed in.
That's what I'm saying. There were lots of moments that I did. I mean, I didn't mind that the last 20 minutes I wasn't laughing because I laughed at almost every scene.
When this movie ended, I could hear the audience shrug. Like, it was just kind of like, because it ends on like a sappy note.
Well, they like to do that dumb twist at the end where she's getting everything she wants, and then she's like, nah, I don't want that anymore. I want something totally different. And I think that's a lot of the frustration with movies like this, where it's just like, oh, okay, yep.
You're invested in their goal, and then and then through the heart-rendering lessons that they learn, they realize they want something else, and then you're supposed to love that thing.
Yeah.
It's like Turner and Hooch. You know, you love Hooch. They kill Hooch.
Spoiler alert.
And then you're supposed to love the little puppy at the end. It's like, fuck
Yep.
you. I think about Turner and Hooch a lot.
Yeah,
it haunts me.
that wound has never been healed
It's
or
never
healed.
going to be healed. Oh, Hooch, why'd you have to die, Hooch?
The puppy
my
does not
God.
replace the hole that Hooch left.
Oh.
But, like, that was a groan for me, a groan moment where you're just like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
Just be happy and, like, you know, take this victory.
Well, the boss kind of turned on her.
Yeah,
And so
that ruined it.
She couldn't really accept his handout, you know?
Yeah.
Well, he was a little bit sympathetic as a character, I thought, which was pretty smart because she was kind of blaming being a woman on not getting a promotion. He was like, listen, other agents sign NBA stars, NFL stars, MLB stars. Like, you need the big, you know, athletes from the big sports. You have, like, female athletes. You have swimmers or whatever the hell. So, like, he had a point of her not getting promoted.
Lisa Leslie from the LA Sparks appears in this film. Mm-hmm. Brother Bishke will be excited about that.
Well, it made her chase after the big win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's go to these bones. Let's not make this podcast longer than it needs to be like the film was. Let's start with Brother Justin. Men first.
Oh, man, first.
Listen, ladies, all I want to do is go first and then fall asleep.
No, I voted for Hillary, okay? Not just in the general election. I voted for her in the primary.
I'm giving this 2 bones. It was too long, but competently made. Had some good jokes. I appreciated some of the cameos. Not too much to irk me, really. Like, I need to get mad to go below 2 bones.
That's a good...
I'm not mad.
That's a good metric.
I'm not
I like
happy,
that.
but in no way when I started my journey to Montebello and ate at the Applebee's before the movie did I think this was going to surpass 2 bones. So,
So here we are.
We are par for the course.
It's a 2-bone evening.
Yeah.
Sister Emily.
Well, I think that a better title for this movie instead of What Men Want would be What Allie Wants.
Mm-hmm.
And just have it be a thread
Yes.
of what women want. Because it really is what she wants.
This is not remotely about what men want.
Right.
Like, it's kind of ridiculous.
And it should be about her and her choices. And I liked how confident she was, and yet she still was a goofball.
Yeah.
And could have some major blunders. I laughed a lot. I thought it was, I don't know, just easy to digest. Unlike
you
the
go.
cheese and apples.
So much cheese.
So many apps.
We
had so many apps.
I was thinking about going higher, but then when I went to the bathroom after the movie, I realized that there's something very sticky on the back of my leggings.
Oh.
So I don't know if that's from Applebee's or from the seats in here.
I think it was from here.
I'm back down. I'm just gonna do 2 bones.
2
Don't blame the
bones.
movie on the seats.
Hey, it's all part of it. It's the whole experience.
Oh, God.
Sister Brandy.
How many is it out of? I always
4.
forget. 4. I'm going to give it 3.
Whoa!
I really liked it. I had fun. I like the premise. It's something I enjoy is like the fake magic of movies like this, like the what if. I love movies like this where it's just like, oh, what if you could hear this stuff? And it's kind of cool. It's like magic and fun. And I thought the jokes were funny. Some of the stuff was kind of like a little warmed over. But other than that, I had a great time. Even the sappy stuff at the end, I knew that the end was coming, and I thought it was well wrapped up. So I'm going to give it 3.
I like that term warmed over.
Yeah.
I definitely... I feel like there was a lot of warmed over cheese in this. And
Before and after the movie.
yes, it's been a full evening of that. I peaked at 2.5 bones. I was riding high at 2.5. I thought, I don't know, some of the comedic editing, you know, I watch the editing a lot in these comedies, and it did not impress me. Not nearly as much as What Women Want did. What Women Want was very experimental in the editing. This, it seemed like it was just barely on the rails some of the times. But that said, Tracy Morgan was a highlight. Taraji P. Henson, super highlight for me. I liked her love interest. I thought was great in what little he was given to do.
Oof,
I thought he did a great job.
Good eye candy.
There's a lot, great eye candy. There was just a lot of stuff on the periphery that I was really enjoying. And then we hit that back half, and the calcium started draining from these bones. I went down to 2. I was at 2 for a while, and I was nodding my head, and I'm like, yep, you're a 2. You're a 2 boner. And then somewhere along the line, I had to dip down to 1.5 bones. I can't... These movies, if romantic comedies, silly, goofy, vulgar romantic comedies like this are to survive, I can't reward something like this. You need to make it tight. You need to make it right. You need to punch up your fucking jokes. And you need to make fresh cheese. Don't warm it over anymore. This is 2019. We've seen this formula before. Let's snazz it up. If they have to all learn these treacly, stupid lessons, then... just rain the pepper down with the jokes then. You need to compensate. You need to figure out a way to do it.
I have a suggestion.
Yes.
Okay, don't mention Taraji's cleavage. Just don't. Don't do it. Why don't you throw Mel Gibson under the bus instead?
Pay homage to Mr. Mel Gibson.
God.
She's walking around. No. Guys should have been like, damn, look at that sugar tits.
Yeah.
She should have blown me before the jacuzzi.
I can't believe they didn't think to do that. But then again, like you pointed out, this is not really about men at all.
Right.
Like it's bizarre that that's what this will go down in the history books as being about, because it's just not it. It's about a female sports agent.
Yeah, a female looking for a job, and then the other one was a man looking for love.
Yeah. So there you have it. I gotta give it 1.5 bones, but it's a warm 1.5 bones. I'm rooting for it, and I'm rooting for Taraji P. All the actors from this movie were in all the trailers leading up to this, and she looks like
she's busy.
She is very busy, and I can't wait to just follow her wherever she goes. So
love her.
What Men Want, all over the place in the bone department. We've had an adventure in Montebello tonight, y'all, and I really appreciate you guys being on the show tonight.
Woo.
Somewhere in Hawaii, Bishki is. I wish
at a luau.
He's at a luau.
He's in a cave discovering a cursed tiki god.
I wish we could hear his thoughts right now. But he will be back soon enough. Fear not. And Brother Lucas, wherever he may dwell, I think I could safely say he'd give this a half bone. He would have been in hell during this.
Asleep.
He'd be in the hellish sleep of the damned. But yeah, that's what men want, y'all. Love and light.
Peace.
Wig grabs and all that stuff.